friends, welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Stacy and I am the Chapter Conundrum. And if you are looking at the shelves behind me and you are scared, you should see the book piles I have on the floor because goodness. Anyhow, today we are here to quickly go over all of my physical unread TBR. So there are going to be a couple of caveats to this. The first is that at the end I'm going to have a section that the books in that section are hauled because of Jake. They are specifically his books, but that I am open to reading. I'm not going to put them in my count of overall owned TBR because I didn't haul them. I didn't buy them. They're here for Jake regardless. But it will be fun to see how many books are here either because of me or because of both of us that I have not yet read. It's going to be a lot. I'm going to predict it's something in the 300 to 400 range, but we will see. I'm not going to go into any kind of specifics about these books other than the title and the author because we will be here all night if I do. But I will have this video organized by genre. I don't have these alphabetized or anything within the genre. It's just going to be how I pulled them off the shelves and stacked them up. It would take a lot of effort for me to alphabetize them, so I'm just not gonna. But as you guys are watching, be sure to drop in the comments, either in multiple comments or in the same comment, which of these you are excited for me to get to. That's gonna be part of the joy of this video for me. Not only sharing what I have here that I'm excited about, but seeing what you guys want me to read as well. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it, kicking things off with my by far biggest pile, which of course is fantasy. And first up, we have Firebrand, the Dream Gatherer, and Spirit of the Wood by Kristen Britton. The Court of Broken Knives by Anna Smith Spark. Becoming a Druid and to Speak with Elders by Mike Mullman. The Shadow Saint and the Broken God by Gareth Ryder Hanrahan. The Last Hour Between Worlds by Melissa Caruso. The Bard's Blade, A Chorus of Fire and Swords Elegy by Brian D. Anderson. The Girl and His Stars, as well as The Book That Wouldn't Burn, The Book That Broke the World, and The Book That Held Her Heart by Mark Lawrence. Night Angel Nemesis by Brent Weeks. The Lost War and the Bitter Crown by Justin Lee Anderson. Tower Lord and Queen of Fire by Anthony Ryan. Empire of Sand and Realm of Ash by Tasha Suri. The Final Strife, The Battle Drum and the Ending Fire by Sarah El Arifi. The City of Dusk and the Midnight Kingdom by Tara Sim. The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. The Famine Witch by Stephen Black. Sephiroth's Hand by Melissa McPhail. Blackwing by Ed McDonald. Venomborn by Benjamin Averin. Age of Assassins by R.J. Barker. The Thousand Names, as well as Ashes of the Sun and Blood of the Chosen by Django Wexler. Beyond Redemption, as well as Blackstone Heart, She Dreams in Blood and An End to Sorrow by Michael R. Fletcher. Aching God by Mike Schell. Great Shadow by James Maxey. Winds of Strife by U.G. Gutman. Valor, Ruin, and Wrath, as well as A Time of Dread by John Gwynne. Royal Assassin and Assassin's Quest, as well as Ship of Magic, Mad Ship, and Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb. Furies of Calderon by Jim Butcher. Red Seas Under Red Skies and The Republic of Thieves by Scott Lynch. The first 5 books in the Malazan series by Stephen Erickson. The entirety of the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. A Cavern of Black Ice and a Fortress of Grey Ice by J.V. Jones. Black Sun Rising by C.S. Friedman. Legacies by L.E. Modesitt Jr. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms by George R. R. Martin. Pulling the Wings Off Angels. The Company. The Folding Knife, as well as Colors in the Steel, The Belly of the Bow, and The Proof House by K.J. Parker. Sufficiently Advanced Magic by Andrew Rowe. Shadows of Self, The Bands of Mourning, The Lost Metal. And Way of Kings and Words of Radiance, Oathbringer and Rhythm of War, as well as Dawn Shard. Oh, and a hardcover of Wind and Truth at the very, very top that I can't reach, and I forgot to gas Jake to get down, all by Brandon Sanderson. An Echo in the Bone, Written in My Own Heart's Blood, and Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone by Diana Gabaldon. Priest of Bones, Priest of Lies, Priest of Gallows, and Priest of Crowns by Peter McLean. A Dance of Cloaks and The Bladed Faith by David Dalglish. The Maleficent Seven, as well as The Traitor God and God of Broken Things, all by Cameron Johnston. And last but not least, and the perfect segue into sci-fi, we have Guns of the Dawn by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Continuing on with Adrian Tchaikovsky, Dogs of War, Cage of Souls, Children of Time, Children of Memory, and Children of Ruin, as well as Shards of Earth, Eyes of the Void, and Lords of Uncreation. Dark Age and Lightbringer by Pierce Brown, Moondeeds and Light Fighters by Palmer Pickering, Harmony by C.F. Bentley, Prey by Michael Crichton, The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson, Hard Reboot by Django Wexler, The Dark That Dwells by Matt Digman and Ryan Roddy, Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey, and The Companion's Whisper by Paul A. McLean. Moving into thrillers and horrors, we're going to start off with a bunch of Stephen King here that I haven't yet read that I want to. Billy Summers, The Outsider, The Green Mile, Thinner, Pet Sematary, and Christine. The Housemaid and the Housemaid's Secret by Frida McFadden. Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell. The Burning Girls by C.J. Tudor. Ungodly by Braden Riddick. The Reformatory by Tanana Reeve-Dew. Lone Women by Victor Laval. Swipe Right for Murder by Polly Harris. Keep It in the Family by John Mars. Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Rayborn. Hide and Seek by M.J. Arledge. My Ex the Antichrist by Craig DeLuey. With You Always and the Girl Before by Rena Olson. The Whispers by Ashley Audrain. I Let You Go by Claire McIntosh. All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby. D7 by Philip Fracassi. When the Wolf Comes Home, Mary and Rest Stop by Nat Cassidy. She Was the Quiet One by Michelle Campbell. The Perfect Wife and the Girl Before by J.P. Delaney. Mission Flats and the Strangler by William Landay. The Dark Trials by T. James Kelly. Central Park by Guillaume Musso. Getaway and the Girl Who Outgrew the World by Zoe Stage. Off the Air by Christina Estes. You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing. Last Girl Ghosted by Lisa Unger. The Younger Wife by Sally Hepworth. And Anathema by Nick Roberts. Then moving into contemporary romance, This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. Icebreaker and Wildfire by Hannah Grace. Unsteady by Peyton Corrine. Before I Let Go and This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. Lovelight Farms by B.K. Borison. How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong. Twisted and Crossed by Emily McIntyre. Deep End by Allie Hazelwood. If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. Too Beautiful to Break, Window Shopping, and Unfortunately Yours by Tessa Bailey. The Last Love Note by Emma Gray. Good Girl Complex, The Graham Effect, and The Deal by Elle Kennedy. The Friend Zone, as well as Part of Your World, Yours Truly, and Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Heartbones, Ugly Love, Reminders of Him, Too Late, and It Ends With Us, as well as It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. Then finally, This Spells Love by Kate Robb. Moving into fantasy romance now, Autumn of the Grimoire by J.L. Vampa, Quicksilver by Callie Hart, Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole, Onyx and Ivory by Mindy Arnett, Goldfinch by Raven Kennedy, A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer, The Serpent and the Wings of Night, The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, as well as Six Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent, The Marionettes by Katie Wismer, Everless by Sarah Holland, Between Wrath and Mercy and Between Despair and Hope by Jess Wisecup, Eidolon and the Ippos King by Grace Draven, Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, Lucifer's Daughter by Kel Carpenter, Cast in Firelight by Dana Swift, The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni, King of Battle and Blood as well as Queen of Myth and Monsters by Scarlett St. Clair, and Bewitched and Bespelled by Laura Thalassa. Then I have a small stack that is kind of other genres, so either like contemporary historical fiction or nonfiction. We have Rumblefish by S.E. Hinton, Falling Over Sideways, The Boy Who Failed Show and Tell, Are You Experienced, and Dodger for President by Jordan Sonnenblick, The Space Between Us by Thridi Umrigar, Where Waters Meet by Zhang Ling, The Last Girl by Nadia Murad, The Enneagram in You by Gina Gomez, and Here We Go Again by Betty White. Finally, we're going to move on to a section that's kind of all genres, but that are Jake's books that I don't have like overt, obvious interest in right now. So these are all Jake's fault that they're here. I mean, some of the other ones were Jake's fault that they're here, but I know I want to read those. These ones are like, it's Jake's fault that they're here. I don't know enough about them to know whether I want to read them. So I would love to hear your feedback on whether you think I would enjoy them or pass on them in the comments. And I'm sorry I don't have these organized better in terms of genre. I just had a pile set aside as we were pulling out different genres. A History of What Comes Next, Until the Last of Me, and For the First Time Again by Sylvain Neuvel. Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. The first 5 books in the Pendragon series by DJ McHale. Empire of Exiles and Relics of Ruin by Aaron M. Evans. In the Stars All Find You and Other Tales of Futures Fantastic. The Dragons of Deepwood Fen, and The Winds of Kalikovo, The Straits of Galahesh, and The Flames of Shaddam Koreh by Bradley P. Bolio. The Elven by Bernard Hennon. The Dagger and Coin series by Daniel Abraham. The Bone Ships by R.J. Barker. The Exorcist House, Genesis, and It Haunts the Mind and Other Stories by Nick Roberts. The Hollow City by Dan Wells. Spontaneous Human Combustion by Richard Thomas. Black Coral by Andrew Main. Providence by Caroline Kepnes. So Cold the River by Michael Corita. The Flanders Panel by Arturo Perez Revert. Darkness Take My Hand, Gone Baby Gone, and A Drink Before the War by Dennis Lehane. My Heart is a Chainsaw, Don't Fear the Reaper, and The Angel of Indian Lake by Stephen Graham Jones, The Trespasser by Tana French, The Child Thief and Krampus by Brahm, and a whole pile of Stephen King books that I am not sure about, but that Jake doesn't think I will overtly hate. The Institute, Gwendy's Button Box, Gwendy's Magic Feather, and Gwendy's Final Task, Rose Matter, Needful Things, The Dark Half, The Eyes of the Dragon, Firestarter, Cycle of the Werewolf, The Shining and Doctor Sleep, Salem's Lot, If It Bleeds, and the ginormous monster, It. So that was it for all the books on my physical TBR that I either have interest in or that I could potentially have interest in but that are here for Jake. Let me know down below in the comments, what are you most excited to read? And also, I am going to probably be flabbergasted at the number of unread books I have when I figure that out in editing. But I will caveat that a lot of these ended up on my physical TBR because they were Jake's, and I also just had interest in reading them eventually, so I didn't necessarily purchase all of these. In fact, I would say the vast majority of books on this video I didn't purchase. Either they were given to me by my sister in her on-haul pile, I sort of inherited them from Jake, I was gifted them over the years, I found them in little free libraries, I got them using store credit at my local used bookstores, or I maybe got them in book swaps, any kind of thing like that. I love to do all those types of things. So in those terms, I at least don't feel that scared. But that said, I have a lot of reading ahead of me. I really need to start focusing on my physical TBR because we are very limited on the shelf space that we have, and we don't really have space for a new set of shelves just yet. And Christmas is just around the corner, and I'm sure we're going to be adding new books to the shelves after that. So yeah, I got to get going on some of these for sure. So definitely hype me up for some of these down below so that I'll pick them up sooner. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe on your way out if you want to, and have a great day. Bye!